Take a look at this headline. It says, I am deeply sorry, Bishop Kukah says, amid criticism of remark on genocide targeting Christians in Nigeria. So Bishop Kukah is now making a U-turn. Bishop Kukah initially said there is no genocide in Nigeria, but today he is saying he is deeply sorry to have said there is no genocide happening in Nigeria. This is coming after Raimo tweeted yesterday saying there's 600,000 IDPs in Benue State alone. 600,000 IDPs in Benue State alone, and that post went viral. I mean, it went viral, and there was outrage on the social media. Nigerians were like, what is happening? Anyway, possibly this was what forced Reverend Kukah to make this U-turn, and he came up with this, saying he is deeply sorry to have said there is no genocide in Nigeria. Now, let me further read this article. It says, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto in Nigeria has expressed regret that his position on the anguish of Christians in West African nation has been misinterpreted. In a statement published on Tuesday, December 9th, by the Diocese of Sokoto, Bishop Kukah said he is sincerely sorry to be associated with representations stemming from the pain of my brothers and sisters within the body of Christ. In the statement, the Nigerian Catholic bishop dismisses allegation of him denying that there is persecution of Christians in Nigeria. He's saying, I didn't say that there is no genocide. Now, it means that Reverend Kukah, Bishop Kukah, is now admitting that there is persecution of Christians. This article is very long and I will not go further, but let me take you through some of the reactions. So guys, this is coming after Raimo tweeted about, the number of IDPs in Benue State alone. Raimo said 600,000 IDPs in Benue State alone. And Nigerians have been wondering, how is the Reverend Father there, who is the governor, why is he keeping quiet? He has 600,000 IDPs. And this man came out to say there's no genocide happening in his state. I will even shock you with this headline here. This is the same Governor Olea, that's the Reverend Father in Benue State. In January 9th, 2025, this man said Benue State shelters over 500,000 IDPs. He was the one raising alarm that we have too much in our hand. IDPs, people that have been sacked. It is the same governor that came out to say there is no genocide. So guys, a whole lot has been happening and people have been reacting. Let me take you through some of this reaction. But like you can see, the APC is good at denting people. You see how the APC, the Tinubu's government, they've rubbished Reverend Kukah. They've rubbished the Reverend Father in Benue State. I mean, if you join the APC like this, they'll tell you your brain will just stop functioning like a normal human brain. Now, let me take you through some of these reactions. Like this person here said, the Benue State governor once confirmed the genocide before they gave him corn and second term assurance. Can you imagine that they gave him corn and they assured him for second term, and now he is saying there is no genocide? And this person here said, he said this as a defense since the U.S. lawmaker who visited Nigeria recently has come out to confirm that there has been genocide against Christians in Nigeria. Matthew Hassan Kukah thinks he is very smart to use "I am sorry" in a sentence in order to confuse people. And this person here said, there used to be a Matthew Kukah who was brave, honest, fearless. Long gone is that man. The one we have now is a cacophony of the reverend priesthood, a gullible ass liquor and puppet of the master's drug lord. How are the mighty fallen? You can imagine. That's to tell you how the APC is rubbishing people's dignity. I mean, rubbishing people's prestige. This other person said this apology is not sound, as the term sorry is watered down with words like persecution instead of genocide. You can also claim that the killing is not supported with empirical data. Haba Kukah, Haba Bishop speaking from both sides of the mouth. Judgment is coming. So many Nigerians have really lambasted him for his initial position, and suddenly he's coming out to say, I'm sorry. But for me, I think it's really a welcome development, because if he can realize that, oh, I really need to tell the truth, and at this time he comes out to say, I'm sorry to have said, oh, there is no genocide, but now I must say the truth. I think we should still accept it for the fact that he is making this adjustment. What about the Reverend Father who has been so silent and quiet? It is even funny that it is the Bishop of Benue State that went to the US to report this case, and then the Bishop in Sokoto is saying the Bishop in Benue is lying. Can you imagine it? But it is nice that the Bishop Kukah is coming out to tell Nigerians, I am deeply sorry. So guys, talking about Benue State, I want you to take your time and watch this interview where this man has come out to narrate some. You need to watch this video about what's happening in Benue State, honestly. And also, the United States is already talking about the actions they are going to take. Now, watch this video and also take a look at what the US is saying. This is also a latest video, just for you to get some updates on what is happening around this genocide that is happening in Nigeria by genocidal Fulanis. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now, take a look.
Are you convinced that there is Christian genocide in Nigeria?
Well, thank you, Dr. Ruben. I will just put it like this. If the Totiv of the entire Tiv people worldwide mentioned in front of the president that there's genocidal killings in Benue, if the bishop of the Makudi diocese himself confirmed that there's Christian genocide in Benue, and if the people themselves who have been killed, people in my federal constituency, in my village, who have been killed and tortured and displaced from their communities for 15 years, systematically refusing their return to their ancestral lands, who am I to deny that there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria? The truth of the matter is there's genocide taking place in many parts of Nigeria. Now, the question is, you know, when we think about genocide, we remember the Tutsi genocide. We remember the southern Darfur genocide, the southern Congo, you know. We remember the genocide against the Jews by the Nazis. So it brings back very negative memories of what genocide actually is. So it is unthinkable that our people, a Tiv ethnic group of Nigeria, Benue State as a whole, will be subjected to genocide. I don't believe that the Tiv people of Nigeria can be wiped out, or Benue State can be wiped out from the face of this country. But the truth of the matter is there is a systematic genocidal attack against many communities in Nigeria.
All right, thank you for setting that. Now, I want to ask you with regards to the U.S. delegation's visits to Benue State. I want to believe that you might be privy to some of the outcomes, even though the governor had spoken out. What are some of the outcomes based on their fact-finding mission? And to what extent do you think, based on your assertion of a Christian genocide in that area, what do you think some of the moves that are being done right now would do to stem that happening, or to stop the killings of your people?
Well, I might not be able to say exactly what was discussed in the meetings in the government house in Benue, or what was discussed during the closed-door meetings with the bishops, because the National Assembly caucus was not invited by the state government to participate in these meetings. Don't forget that as an assembly, we have what we call parliamentary friendship groups, where we engage with our counterparts in America and UK and other parliaments across the world. And I'm a member of many of these parliamentary friendship groups. I have been to Washington, D.C. to meet with our colleagues in Congress in America. So we expected that if a congressional delegation is coming to Benue on a fact-finding mission, then members of the National Assembly should have been invited to engage directly with them. But however it is, we have our channels where we also engage with members of Congress in America and other countries around the world. And don't forget that 2 years into the first year into my tenure in the National Assembly, I sponsored a documentary on the IDPs and the insecurity situation in Benue State. This documentary got international attention, and it is one of the tools that has really showcased the killings, the displacements, and the genocidal attacks going on in Benue State. And so we are hoping that as part of the discussions with the American delegation, one of the things that will be put in place is a mechanism through which we can raise funds and we can come up with programs and initiatives to resettle the over 600,000 IDPs that are currently in Benue State, one of the highest in Nigeria. And this was also confirmed by the representative Riley Moore, who was also part of that delegation, that what he saw physically, and this is what we have been crying about for many years now. Benue State has become the IDP capital of Nigeria, which is really, really unfortunate. And we're hoping that these discussions that have taken place at the state level with the government and with the bishops would have put in place a mechanism through which we can resettle IDPs and get them into productive activities for the benefit of our dear state of Benue State.
When Riley Moore was in Nigeria, his tweet met with a lot of triumphalism on the part of government-loving people. In fact, they retweeted him and praised him. But he has since tweeted again. And please, I want to ask if this tweet represents what's happening in Benue. And I'm reading his tweet now. He says, while in Benue, I met with dozens of Christians who were driven from their home and subjected to horrific violence. They now live in IDP camp. They told the harrowing story. One woman was forced to watch as they killed her husband and 5 children. She and her unborn child barely escaped. Another woman was murdered in front of her, and her baby was ripped from her womb. One man's family was hacked to death in front of his eyes, and his arms were permanently mangled. There are more than 600,000 Christians in IDP camps in Benue State. The Christians should not live in their ancestral homeland with fear of genocide. Paraphrasing. Is this a reflection of what is happening in Benue and what you think the representative member of America interface with?
Rufai, this is absolutely the reflection of what is happening on the ground in Benue State. I have personally cried about this situation for many, many months since I became a member of the National Assembly. In my federal constituency, in my local government, particularly of Kwande local government, we faced this crisis for many, many years. For over 15 years, there's been killings, there's been displacement, there's been mining, there's been rape. Our people are systematically being displaced from their ancestral land. I made an interview some months ago where I said almost 40% of arable land in Benue State has been taken over by bandits and by terrorists. So, so this is a systematic claiming of our land. Our people are not able to farm. Benue State has the highest food inflation in Nigeria because our people are able to farm. Benue State used to be the food basket of the nation, but now we have lost that ranking because a majority of our people are unable to farm and are able to live productive lives because of these killings. We've lost a lot of lives in Benue. The IDP situation is really, really bad in Benue State. It is worse than it is even portrayed. I can assure you that we did a documentary. We went around the entire state. We started from Zone C in Agatu, where there's one of the highest cases of IDPs and displacement and maiming and killing. But this is even underreported. Most of the report even talks about the thief-speaking areas of Benue State. The Idoma-speaking areas also face a lot of challenges, a lot of attacks and displacement. This issue is really serious. It is time that we take this matter very seriously. The federal government of Nigeria, I'm happy that there's pressure now on the government to do something about this insecurity that we're facing in Benue. I hope that the collaboration with the American government, with the federal government of Nigeria, and with the support of the state government and the input from the state government, we will find a solution and bring lasting peace to this situation. The unity of our people is paramount. It is important that the government of Benue State, along with the leaders across the state, across the federal government of Nigeria, put heads together and bring a permanent solution to this issue. If not, just like what happened in Darfur, or what happened in Rwanda, where the people, the governments around the world looked away. The government at the time looked away until they think the issue became an extreme issue of over 800,000 people killed in the genocide in Rwanda. We hope that our government here, us as the leaders, will not bury our heads and look away until this issue becomes an international genocide that we will not be able to deny, as some leaders have denied recently about there's no genocide, or have denied the extent or downplayed the kind of killings going on. We hope that we don't look away, we don't deny these killings until it becomes too late and we experience full-blown killings and full-blown genocide in our dear country, Nigeria.
Very quickly, I will just pack like 3 questions into one. Very briefly, please. Number one, Congressman Moore was saying that there are about 600,000 persons in IDP camps in Benue. How accurate is that figure? 2, have you finally made peace with Governor Alia because you had sued him for defamation? Over the mismanagement of relief materials. So, well, you then said you have withdrawn the case in order not to have distractions. But the problem you raised has not been solved. So, as the lawmaker representing, the federal constituency from Benue, in your area, what are your specific recommendations? Because we should go beyond identifying and analyzing the problem to say, this is what should be done. What do you think should be done? Well,
thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Number one, The figures by the congressman from America of 600,000 might even be underestimated. In fact, the state government figures from the State Emergency Management Agency puts the figures at over 1 million displaced people. Sometimes they even mention 2 million displaced people across Benue. Many of the displaced people don't live in IDP camps. Many of them have been displaced and are living in the communities, have moved to other communities, moved to the local government capitals or to the state capital. So sometimes they are unable to be calculated as a fraction or a component of the displaced people in Benue State. But I can assure you that that figure might even be less than that. The situation is really bad. And then secondly, you mentioned about my relationship with the governor. Well, it was an unfortunate situation. Over a year ago, palliatives were given to me by NEMA to take to my constituents, and the governor seized these palliatives illegally and impounded these things in government house, even after the recommendation of all the security agencies and even his own staff to release the palliatives. He played politics with that situation and did not release. Eventually, when he released the palliatives, he released it to be distributed to his political cronies and his political friends in the local government, and the palliatives didn't end up going to the people for which I applied for these palliatives for. I sued the state government and the state governor himself for defamation of character, accusing me of diverting palliatives, which was not true. Not one single piece of palliative was missing anywhere. And the case went on, and the government applied a diversionary approach, a delay tactics for over 1 year plus. The case kept going back and forth. The government we refused to come and defend the allegation they made against me. And so I took it that their inability or refusal to come and defend the false allegations against me was an admittance of their failure and their falsehood against me. But it is time to move on. In politics, you don't fight indefinitely, because I have much larger responsibilities as a member representing my people. So I decided to withdraw the case and leave him to his conscience for why he would have gone the extent of calling a press conference just to tarnish my image at the time he did, which there was absolutely no reason for him to do that. But I've put that behind me. I've supplied way more palliatives and relief materials to our people in the IDPs and the people displaced in my community, so I don't care much about what has happened in the past. And then finally, we've done so much in terms of security in my constituency. I have donated a temporary mobile police station to the people. I have donated military tools and equipment to support the local vigilante in their work to support the security agencies. We have done so much in terms of moving motions and bills and proposals that bring peace and succor. We have spoken to agencies of government and of security to deploy more security and open up our economy to more economic activities. My constituency is a border community with Cameroon. We also border with Taraba, we border with Cross River. And so we need to have a tripartite kind of arrangement where we work with the Taraba state government to ensure that we do a collaborative security arrangement. So far, the security issue in my constituency has gone down because of the efforts that we have done over the last few months and the efforts of the federal government. We have seen a little bit of improvement. The frequency of the killings have reduced now, and that is as a result of a lot of the efforts and the work we have done to support local vigilante, support the local government police to do more in terms of protecting the people, and we have seen a good result, but we hope to see more, hopefully with the support and collaboration with the states and federal government to bring this issue to a permanent end.
Okay, thank you, sir, from Dr. Segun Suwumi. And
First of all, let me say that on behalf of the people of Nigeria, we thank and truly appreciate the efforts that you put in that country's issues. The second thing that needs to be said very clearly is that the designation as a CPC has done much more than you can imagine its weight in words. The first is that it has given hope to a cross-section of Nigerians that someone is finally listening to what's going on and Nigeria now matters. Like a bicycle attitude, those with the responsibility of running our country have had over the years. At least now we can see that they are now beginning to shape up, albeit slowly. Now let me try and say very, very firmly without missing words. I'm a Nigerian, I live in Nigeria, I flee from Nigeria. And I have a duty to explain how things should be and how things are
sometimes when you want to do a good, if you don't get all of the issues from the perspective of those on the inside, you might mistakenly even terrorism. No nation has been able to do it without improvisation or rhetorics. The only part is to be firm, responsible, comprehensive, respect international law. The second thing that needs to be said is that defeating extremism requires rebuilding what the terror people seek to destroy. Community devastated by violence needs more than sympathy. They need roads, they need schools, they need hospitals, they need economic stabilization to return back to the future that was taken from them. Help Nigeria expand its policing infrastructure. Because at the end of the day, rather than classify it as an ethnic group, which most people feel convenient to, which is Fulani, you must understand that's more than 15 million people that live there. And we don't think that 15 million of them are all into this. And if we're not very careful, we'll be sowing seeds that will never be resolved, almost like the one you have in the Middle East. So it's better to just say, we're dealing with some criminal elite people. What we must do now is we must figure out, bless you.
The time, and so I'm going to exert the prerogative of the chair here, and turn the question a little bit to the issue, the big elephant that's sitting in the back of the room that nobody's actually talking about, which is what exactly do we do to get the Nigerian government and to get governments around Africa to join. And there's an old joke that how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? And the answer is none, because the light bulb has to want to change, right? And so the question here is, how do we kind of work together with other countries in Africa, to get Nigeria to want to change? And there's a lot of different tools for that. And so we have a number of people who are on the list that I'm going to turn to and ask that question to. Okay, because I think better than making statements is the question of, okay, now what next? Okay, and so the first person I'm going to put on the spot is Ambassador. Madam Ambassador, who was the person, she was the ambassador to South Africa, and she understands the diplomatic kind of kabuki dance that diplomats have to do to get people to go along with controversial ideas. So is there a microphone that we can, so that you don't have to get up, is there a microphone we can? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. Are you sending that to Abuja? No. Can you direct? Don't send that to Abuja. No. All right. Don't Abuja for the record. Yeah. Well, it's on Zoom anyway. It has to do immediately, which is the question you asked. Post every soldier to his state of origin. Post every Nigerian soldier to his state of origin. They will not allow their people to be killed and slaughtered. Because national loyalties in Nigeria are primordial. The loyalties are first to the ethnicity and the indigeneity before the Western-created contraption called Nigeria. That is true. People owe more loyalties to their Afanifere, to their Ohanese, to their Arewas before the country Nigeria. And it is constitutional. There is a section in the Nigerian constitution that every single Muslim government who have ruled Nigeria more than other administrations have not allowed to be touched. Everybody has a copy of the Nigerian constitution. It is online. Section 219. Section 219 of the Nigerian constitution says, establish the federal character of the Nigerian armed forces. Every single military facility and location in Nigeria must be populated by no less than 75% of the indigenes of the locality of the military facility. Why has government refused to implement it? So what America needs to do is to tell Nigeria, every soldier must be posted to his state of origin. And I tell you something. Yes, I am Igbo, and they invaded the house of Nnamdi Kanu in an operation called Operation Python Dance in September, when was that? Wherever. The soldiers that came to invade the village where boys and young men were marching and wielding rifles, locally made rifles, chanting Biafra hymns, that was no threat to sovereignty. But those soldiers came over weaponized with armored tanks. I thought they were going to invade maybe Benin Republic with a military aircraft or something. It was just a house. And they so spoke Hausa to them and Fulani to them and say, you mounted. So what I posit is that if the soldiers that had come to undertake the Python dance attack were locals who spoke the local lingo to the youths and said, hey, you boys, you don't know that government is angry with this thing you're doing, and flogged them, the consequences would have been different. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, in a Zoom call that we had a couple of weeks ago, one of the other diplomatic issues is the idea of the United States imposing its will and kind of robbing Nigeria of its precious metals. And so that's one of the issues that we're going to have to get the other Africans on board too. Unlike Congress, those of us who've served in the executive branch have to actually make the choir sing, and we have to make them sing together. And so that's really one of the challenges that we have. And so let me just now turn to Dr. Sylvester Onya, and I'm going to give him the microphone and say, and please keep it short, what specifically would you have the administration do to engage the Nigerians in a useful conversation?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, Icon. One and foremost thing that somebody have said here is truth. Nigeria is supposed to embrace the truth. And starting from that truth and listening to what is happening from 1967 to 1970, we fought a war, civil war, and people don't like to address it. They don't want to hear anything about Biafra, but Biafra existed before Nigeria. So what had happened is that Nnamdi Kanu, the whistleblower about this particular genocide, Christian genocide that is happening now, that all of us are agreed on, they went after him because he was alerting people that this is going to happen, and they have just happened. What is it today? He's somewhere in Sokoto doing live term for nothing, just telling people that, hey, be careful, government should restructure the system that didn't work, the 67. That the same system is still what we're suffering today. The resources we're talking about one Nigeria, is based on our side, which is the southeast. But when we hear about resources, it's one Nigeria. Who is benefiting from one Nigeria? Sir, I should ask you that, because you're just coming from Nigeria. Who is benefiting? Thank you.
So, we're looking at you're seeing part of the problem here, but I'd like to ask Judge Saul, who's working with with people on the ground, to say, what precisely do you need from the United States government and from the Nigerian government to solve some of these problems? Because it's going to take a while.
Sure. I'll try to make this very brief and short and sweet. What we need from the American government is partnership with local village security teams and local authorities. You cannot do business and trust the Nigerian government apparatus because it has been fully infiltrated by the Fulani ethnic militia. The other thing that the U.S. government needs to do is the State Department, the embassy, and the various agencies need to get on the same page. We've been running into many roadblocks with information that we've been trying to give to the U.S. government. There are people inside the embassy, in the bureaucracy, I call it the deep state, I'm sorry, I'm not to get conspiratorial here, that are fighting us in fighting our mission within our own government. And there are people within the Trump administration that are withholding key information about what's really going on in Nigeria, preventing our success. So everybody does need to get on the same, sing the same chorus and get on the same harmony. And I have one critical thing I want to say, and it's a warning, and I want this on record for everybody listening and watching. We have information, we've gathered information just very recently, that the Fulani ethnic militia are weaponizing and gathering forces along the Plateau-Nasarawa border, along the Nasarawa-Benue border, and along the Nasarawa-Kaduna border, and they're planning to hit on Christmas, Riam, Bokos, Kafachan in Kaduna, and Agatu in Benue. We've gotten very reliable information that they're gearing up, they're arming, they're weaponizing, they're planning on another Christmas massacre. And I'm imploring the Nigerian government and President Donald Trump, do something now so we don't have a bunch of dead Christians on Christmas in Nigeria.
Thank you. Dr. Charles Jacob, you have something? Because we have an International Freedom Coalition and African Jewish Alliance. Please. Keep it yeah, for you. Yeah.
My name is Charles Jacobs from the African Jewish Alliance. I worked with Congressman Wolf and Chris Smith 25 years ago because there was a jihad in Sudan, and we brought back the slaves that were captured, and that got to President Bush, and he created South Sudan, which is the newest state. It's incredible that we have broken through the news barrier, that now people can talk about Nigeria because Islamophobia, you can't talk about it, but we in this room have made a tremendous effort. I want to thank Stephen and Nada also for getting this. We broke it through. So now Bill Maher's talking about this, Van Jones talking about this, the Charlie Kirk Christian Empire is aflame about this, help save. I'm a rhetorician. One thing that might help us rhetorically, we don't need to talk about Islam. Talk about jihadism. That's all. Talk about jihadism, because Nigeria is not the only place. The jihad has spread now to 20 African countries, and Nigeria was the first to break through, but we can actually organize the others as well. And by the way, there are 23 peoples in this world who are attacked by jihadism, from Christian Copts, from Kurds, from Yazidis, from Druze, from Indians, etc. We are working to put those people in one group. So just rhetorically, let's use the word jihadism and let's see ourselves as part of. Nigeria is just one tentacle of the global jihad. Thank you. Thank you.
If anybody says that it is not genocide going on in Nigeria, that person is either compromised or is benefiting from the genocide, or is part of those who are encouraging the genocide. Secondly, state police, I want to align with our state police is very, very important and very crucial right now. Nigeria can implement it so that all these jihadists who have been incorporated into the national forces, the police, the army, and all that, when you emphasize or establish state police, they will be able to eliminate the bad eggs from among them, and the governors will have the power to influence and control the insecurity. Thank you.
Yeah. Please, we recognize Major General Henry Ayola retired, and even Apostle Ladi Thompson, but we would like maybe response finally from Congressman Smith. If maybe then we just try to.
Thank you. Great recommendations. Obviously, we really aggressively have to sustain this effort. My sense from the Nigerians is they think this might be a flash in the pan and we'll move on to other things. That's not going to happen. I can tell you, there are so many members of Congress now who are even more mobilized than ever. The State Department, especially with the Secretary of State, and of course, Donald Trump himself. And so we're looking for results. The idea that there's going to be a Christmas strike by the Fulani and actionable information that you have, we need to make sure that that's very...
My name is Rashid, and this is how I found the truth. Growing up as a kid in a Muslim conservative family was a little bit unique and different because our village is very small. We know each family, we know each member of the family. My dad was the imam of the mosque. Growing up in that family, you see your family is respected, your dad is respected. I kind of felt pride a little bit. After 5th grade, there's no school around. I had to move to Casablanca, and moving from a small village like ours to the big city of Casablanca was a culture shock for me. And also, it gave me some free time. I don't have to go to the mosque every day, and that's where my journey started because I had more time to do other stuff than just reading the Quran. During Ramadan, families encouraged us as kids, even though we didn't reach the age of 15, I was 12. I didn't have to fast, but I wanted to show that I can fast. So I stayed late. In order for me to stay late, I had to find something to keep me busy. So it was at night, and I was tuning. I hear Arabic. Then I stopped. And it's clear Arabic talking about Jesus Christ. And naming him Yeshua, not Isa. Isa is the Muslim name for Jesus. And it was my first time to hear that. And then I hear things that contradict my faith as a Muslim. I hear that he was crucified on the cross. And I'm like, no, he wasn't. And then he is God himself. And I'm like, he's not. He's just a human being. He's a nice prophet, but he's not. And I'm listening and what is this? I couldn't wait until the morning so I can write a letter to these guys and explain to them that what they were saying in that program was not right. Weeks later, I received a letter from them. And I found that I don't know much about Christianity. So I wrote to them one day and I said, I want to know more. And they started explaining to me. And the more I learn, the more I'm eager to know more. And when I read the gospel and I started reading the words of Jesus, especially the Sermon on the Mount, something touched my heart. Something moved me from just a curious kid to a deeper level. The Jesus in the gospel, I just fell in love with him. I want to know more about him. I want to follow him. And I think that's when my whole thing started changing. And after 4 years of doing that, I just gave up and I said, I can't trust Islam anymore. It was probably the hardest year in that journey, that last year. Islam was not just a religion. It's everything in my life. It's my dad, my family, my society. And taking a step, leaving everything, is like your roots are taken away. It's a total change. So I couldn't handle it, and I was crying. And I was like, God, help me. I can't do it. And at that moment, I felt I'm done with Islam, and I believe in Christ, but I didn't know how to say it. I just wrote a simple letter to my friends at the radio station, and I told them, I think I'm a Christian. And then they responded, and they referred me to a missionary who was American living in Casablanca. So he sent me a letter with his phone number. And in the coffee shop, he had a list of questions that he went through with me. And he was like, I think you're a Christian. I was like, what do you mean? They sent you to test me? And then he said, no, I just wanted to make sure that you understand what you're doing and what you're believing. Then I went to this meeting, beautiful meeting, Moroccans gathering together, sharing food, Moroccan tea, and songs, and the Bible. And the more I met more people, Moroccans, the more my faith grew. When I became a believer and my life started changing, my friends started changing, my habits started changing, and also I started avoiding all the rituals related to Islam, finding different excuses. My family noticed a change. Then, because the family told my mom, she felt embarrassed and she wanted to prove them wrong. So she gathered them one day, and I was coming, and then I found the whole family gathered, and she said, my mom said, are you a Christian or a Muslim? I have to answer the question. I say, that's between me and God. Nobody has the right to ask me about my faith in my heart. And then my mom was like, just say the Shahada and show them, and that's it. Shahada means testimony. So you testify there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is the last messenger of Allah. I said, Mom, I cannot say it. As soon as you say to a Muslim, you cannot say the Shahada, it's actually you say you renounce Islam. As soon as I said it, I felt the whole world collapsed. I still remember it was surreal. Like, I didn't hear much. I just hear cries. My mom is crying, weeping. and everybody's talking around me, and some of them cursing me, and some of them, I just hear voices, get out of here, you filthy dog, and like some spitting and I just felt I'm leaving, and I just got out. And I went to the kiosk to call my missionary friend, and I told him what happened. And he said, do you know where are you going to go? And I said, no. So some of them invited me to their homes, like 1 night, 2 nights here, 1 night here. But unfortunately, I stayed homeless for 2 years. My life was shattered in front of my eyes. Sometimes I cried, and I just said, God, why you allowed this to happen? I'm just a kid. But again, when I look backwards, I say, if I didn't go through those moments, I would not understand what a conversion means. So those moments, when I look back to them, they were also the happiest moments in my life. You would ask, why? Because I had nothing to rely on except God. Usually, this is overwhelming. Usually people rely on money, social status, family, job, education. I had none. I had only Jesus. When you remove all those layers, it's just bare faith, nothing else. You just trust God and you follow Him. After those 2 years, the missionary that I was visiting from time to time, he said, Rashid, I want you to move in, build in my life again. And I started connecting back with my family, and I started visiting, and I started showing them love. And I said, Mom, I'm not coming back because you twisted my arm, and now I have nowhere to go, and I just want to come back from my family. I'm just coming because I love you. My dad didn't want to see me. He rejected me. He renounced me in front of his friends and everybody. He said, I don't have a son. And I tell my mom, is it time to meet him? And she said, no, just wait. So she was the mediator between me and him, like every mom. And she tried to calm things. And I told her I love him. And Jesus taught me just to love you more. There's nothing else. One of the good things, believers in Morocco, the underground church, they do summer Bible school. And then in one of those schools, I met my wife. And then we got married. We got our little apartment. And then we started hosting believers inside of our apartment. And when we started hosting people, somebody got inside of the group, and he was just a journalist who was trying to see what Christians are doing. I trusted him. And then he turned out he's taking our stuff and telling the secret services and also the newspaper. Then at a certain moment, it just exploded, and everybody knows about me, even the local mosque. I got threatened by both the secret services and also by a local mosque. So all these kind of things made us decide to leave Morocco once for all. When I moved out of Morocco, first of all, I didn't have the intention to start a ministry right away. My heart stayed in Morocco. But I got an invitation from a friend, and he said, would you come on TV? It's like, I have no experience on TV. And then I told my wife, she said, what do you think? I said, I either we do it or we should stay away from the gospel, because the gospel is dangerous. It requires you to risk even your life. So we prayed, and I called my friend and I said, I'm in. And I went on air. The first time I received an email from a person, I cried. Somebody, his life touched by my testimony, and he said, I heard your testimony. I want to be a believer. I want to be a follower of Christ. And I said, if it's only for this soul, it's worth it. Then we moved to a live show, from recorded to live. When I was about to do live show, I need help. I can't do it. I'm facing people on air, and I can't. What if somebody asked me a difficult question? And the team that was doing technical stuff, they said, no, you can do it, Rashid. Just go. And I was like, what if nobody calls? It would be embarrassing. Then I went on air. And the producer in my ear, he says, Rashid, it's unbelievable. Hundreds of calls from Middle East. The phone lines got jammed and turned off. The servers turned off. And people are calling from Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Morocco, Algeria. Some of them want to debate. Some of them, they want to curse me, but some of them are searching for the truth. And since then, I'm still doing it. And I never regretted starting that program that day. I have seen lives change. I have seen people with tears giving their lives to Jesus Christ. I have seen people whom they got rescued from ISIS, from fanatic groups, and their lives changed. And every time I'm amazed how God uses the gospel and media to change people's lives. And I believe, personally, I found the truth in Jesus Christ. He said about himself, I am the truth. He's the source of all truth. So if you are watching this video, from my heart, I ask you to take a moment. Just dig deep inside of you. Just a little prayer. It doesn't have to be fancy with fancy words. Just sincere from the heart. Tell him, God, help me search for the truth. Help me find you. Lead me. Show me yourself. I give you my heart. I give you my life. Just lead me in this journey. I believe words that are coming from our hearts, they are meaningful and they will help you in your journey. It's not easy. I went through it. It's not something simple. I know it's complicated. But I believe if you are sincere, you will get there as I did. And the Lord will help you.
So guys, let me share with you some of the reactions from Nigerians after Raimo was cited on a live TV talking about what he saw and the stories he heard while visiting Benue State, the IDP camp. We know that he gave a figure saying that we have 600,000 IDPs, 600,000 IDPs only in Benue State. And to confirm that, you can see there is a post by, there is this headline where the governor of the state also raised alarm in January that they have more than 500 IDP camps. So you can see that Raimo is really saying the fact. We all know that US does not exaggerate. That's why they take their time to make investigations, you know. And Raimo has come out to say that just in 2000 alone, 2005, just this year alone, 2025, that we have 7,000 Christians that have been killed. We have 125,000 killed since 2009, and then we have 19,000 churches burned since 2009. And this is nothing but the truth, you know. When you go to places like Benue, many of the churches have been deserted. You know, many of the churches have been deserted. So guys, talking about what is happening in Benue State, you know, Raimo has been applauded, has been praised for taking his time and taking the risk of going to Benue State with his team to go here, not just going to Benue State like Tinubu did, going to government house. No, Raimo went to IDP camp, and Nigerians are calling for that governor to resign. And you will see that the APC want to rig him in again. Not because we know that Benue State actually didn't want APC. They forced them on the APC on them. And because Benue State is a religious state, they felt, oh, this is a reverend father. Maybe he's going to govern us. But I think this man cannot survive vote of confidence if, you know, things are allowed to go the right way. Anyway, let me take you through some of the reactions from Nigerians after all these figures being put out by Raimo. This person said, we will not have Trump in the White House forever. No matter what happens, Nigerian Christians have to be radical enough to procure arms and defend themselves like yesterday. Any Christian who does not agree should just convert. That doesn't guarantee they will spare your life though. So this person is actually saying that Trump will not be president forever. It's better Christians become radical and have arms to, you know, withstand the attackers. And this other person here said, I met one woman who lost 5 members of her families right before her eyes. She was heavily pregnant that time. She had the baby in the IDP camp, and you could see in her eyes her soul had left her body. You think because you can still buy shawarma in the evening after work if everything is fine with this country. No, nothing is fine. We are in dark times, and the darkness is moving closer to our doorstep. So this person is actually saying that some people don't know what these IDP people went through before they were moved to IDP camps. And even right there in IDP camps, these attackers still come there to attack them. So guys, that's how bad it is. Now, the Tinubu's government allowed these people to stay in IDP camps. Still, they don't guarantee them safety. Do you see where it is messy? They don't guarantee them safety. And you can imagine IDP camp is a concentrated environment. So if these people really come there to buy them, you can imagine the level of damage. And this person is so sad. If Nigerian government is expecting partnership or support, then they are deceiving themselves with the horrible terror visited on Christians, even while in IDP camps, indicate total lack of government. America and Trump won't smile back anymore. So sad. And this other person here said, they came to Nigeria, didn't go to Aso Rock for their serere. They went directly to the place of concern. God bless them. God bless the US and punish our senators for this exclusion. Oh my God, this person is saying God punishes senators. God should also forgive these senators. You know, I pray that one day their eyes will get open to what they are doing. And this person said, I'm wondering how Tinubu's data boys will defend this one. I hope a great measure will be taken to restore sanity in Nigeria. At least they shouldn't bribe him. At least they didn't bribe him on this one. No, Americans don't take bribe. You know, when this man came out and he was applauding the Tinubu's government, as well, thank Tinubu government that they had rounds and rounds of meetings, and Ribadu was smiling in the photo. They didn't know that America comes and silently take their intelligence and, you know, their information and go back home. I mean, this Raimo, he can become like a secret policeman. He really did a perfect job. As in, he came, he was silent, he did his job, he monitored the environment, he took his data and went back, and now he's about to present it to Trump. So guys, this one say, let's see how Ribadu will hide and deny this. Let's see how they will cover up. These are lawmakers from other countries, whom they can't bribe. They will lay it bare as it is. The US government through Trump should help the victims. And another person here said, and Benue governor is a Christian. This is a slap on the face of the leadership of Christian Association of Nigeria. They are voiceless and rubbish. Aren't they supposed to defend the Christian faith in Nigeria? This is saddening. And this person, thank you, Raimo, for the courage to visit Benue. You know what Nigerian president had not visited these horror scenes. I wish you visited Plateau too. God bless you. God bless America. And this other person is saying, for those who agree with for those who disagree with honorable member, please organize your fact-finding personnel. You can get them from your tribe, your religion, or your region. Have them travel to other states in Nigeria to find out who is in the people, who are the people in IDP camp. It's quite unfortunate that America government has to come to Nigeria for a fact-finding mission. What happened to the Nigeria representatives, I mean the House of Rep members. And this person say he is a human, seeing what humans are going through in their country, which is not at war, while her leaders live in denial. Honestly, our leaders live in denial. This person say, I think, okay, not this one. And another person here say the US is trying their possible best while some foolish people are talking trash in the comment. And this other person here said, oh, this is a very pathetic story, and let me read it. This person said, Joshua, my closest friend from college, told me what happened in his village in Benue last year, late last year. Joshua is one of the gentlest Christians I know, the type who leads morning devotion even when everyone is tired, but nothing in his faith prepared him for that night. He went ahead to say that he said the attack started just after their home fellowship ended. One moment they were singing him, the next they heard screamed, tearing through the night. Before his father could lock the door, gunshots hit the neighbor's house. The whole compound shook. They tried escaping through the back, but chaos doesn't give people time to think. His little brother sleep while running. Joshua's mother turned back for him. Ew, that single act of motherly instinct sealed everything. The attackers caught up, and in second, his mother and his brother were gone. Hey, God of heaven. His father tried to shield his remaining children, but Joshua said he watched him fall too, right in front of the mango tree where they used to pray every evening. His grandmother, who couldn't run fast, was trapped in the burning hut. Joshua heard Ahab calling his name until the fire swallowed her voice. Ew! He survived only because he hid under a collapsed chicken coop till sunrise, shaking, bleeding, and listening to his entire village go silent, one household at a time. When he finished telling me, he whispered, "We weren't fighting anyone, we were just Christians trying to live. Joshua is alive, but the person I know didn't survive that night." Oh my God, that means the Joshua he knows it's not the same Joshua he is seeing again. That experience battered his life. That experience shattered Joshua in Benue State. So guys, a whole lot is happening. And these people say, I am still even asking why people are living in Benue State. Those states should go on isolation. That's very difficult decision to make. Why would people leave their villages instead of you to say the government should do the needful? I don't agree with this person saying why should people still be living in Benue. It doesn't make sense saying so. Benue governor should please resign. How can he deny Christian genocide and still occupy that seat as governor? We have shits occupying elective positions in Nigeria. That is where the biggest problem is. INEC and the APC. They can push anything, but just for them to win election. They can push any person into the leadership position just to make sure APC is the ruling party there, not for the people that will give you the best of governance. This person here saying Nigeria should be very ashamed of itself. None of its House of Rep members even know where the IDP camp is. Talk less of visiting. The president had never gone there, and I don't think the first lady has visited. If she has, good for her, but if she hasn't, shame on all of them. Shame on them. And this person, funny enough, APC guys were celebrating Ribadu for handling this matter politically a few days ago, even praising the president already. And Trump even being brief. Just imagine what he will be saying when they finally give him this report. Let's pray they really assist us genuinely. Honestly, we pray they assist us genuinely. They are using Nigeria problem to chase cloud. That's what you think. APC morons were celebrating handshake with Ribadu. Unagolen. A bizarre caliphate has always been the ultimate goal. We have to call this what it is if we want to save Nigeria. Enough of dancing around the subject. Granted, there are a lot of moderate Muslims who don't subscribe to the madness, but the terrorists do, and that's what's fact. This post is not well written. This person has said, it's powerful to see international leaders witnessing the situation on the ground, sharing what they saw and heard from Benue IDP camp can help bring more awareness and push for action. Sometimes seeing is the first step to understanding and helping. Yeah, I think they really did a good job. Ribadu and co would have tried to convince them not to go to Benue and its environs, because they know they received food there. This report shows that he won't sugarcoat anything to Trump. Only remains what he will do. So guys, these are Nigerians speaking after Raimo was spotted on a live TV sharing the stories that were handed over to him by people in the IDP camps. Let me know your thought on this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.